Bob Durst did not kill Susan Berman, and he doesn't know who did. The evidence, the lack of evidence, is what we will be talking about. Both the evidence and the lack of evidence. Another thing I want to say and repeat, and this goes to the evidence, Bob Durst had no motive and nothing to gain by the death of Susan Berman. We readily and freely admit that the evidence will show that Morris Black died in a struggle with Bob Durst. The judge will instruct you on how to consider this evidence, understanding, of course, that the jury found Bob Durst not guilty of murder. And that would have been the end of the story. But Bob wanted his story out. He wanted to explain himself, because everywhere he went, he got stares, and people would look out of the corner of their eyes on him. And he wanted the people, the public, to know that he wasn't the Bob Durst that everybody thought he was, that he'd had a rough life, that he'd been hounded all his life. The problem is that he chose the wrong people to tell that story. Andrew Jarecki and his crew had made a movie called All Good Things, and he thought that he would get an honest depiction of his story. And so Andrew Jarecki and his crew started interviewing Bob. Bob cooperated with them completely. And the result was the series, The Jinx. Now, some people call it a documentary. It's not a documentary. It doesn't pretend to be a documentary, but it's called one. It was a series of programs that ran in early 2015. By the time of the fifth segment, there were 6 segments. By the time of the fifth segment, it became obvious to Bob that this was a hatchet job, that it wasn't his story as he wanted it told. It was a heavily edited story to make good entertainment. And in fact, it won an Emmy, where Bob said, kill them all, of course. What the evidence will show is that Bob finally realized what Jarecki and his crew were trying to show, that he killed them all.